Getting Started with Kubernetes using OpenShift with Marek W. Sadowski.
Thank you very much, Brian. I am very happy to be here with you guys today. So I am based in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. As you can guess from my San Francisco accent, I moved to 6 years ago today, and from very not so shiny Poland. In Warsaw, we had a lot of overcast usually over here in California. Now it's getting nice day, so pretty amazing stuff is happening. So let me try to first launch my presentation if I am able to do so. So I need to go to the presenter, I think, slideshow, and presenter view. And maybe it's going to show. So, okay, it's showing. So I'm just going to share my screen now. I need Brian or everybody tell me if you guys can see my screen. So I'm going to share screen number 2. I have 2 screens over here, so I can kind of follow what you guys are doing. We will need the focus. Okay, focus is done.
Yeah.
And now I'm back
That's
to
good.
the presentation. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about containers, and the cool stuff about this is super intriguing technology for everybody, and I will try to give you a little bit of overview of everything that is happening. There is a link that might help you out during the labs. This is the hands-on session, so you can join me doing labs, and if you do it, you can kind of learn hands-on what I'm talking about. So there will be very small labs. Some of them will be more advanced than others, but you can start and pick up your skill very easily. So a little bit about myself. First time I was in Silicon Valley, I was working for NASA Ames on a small project of visualizing robots on Mars. We were using virtual reality to do it. It was 20 years ago, and guess what? Now my son is using VR, and I'm allowed only to play from time to time, and he's usually doing some crazy stuff with that. But 20 years ago, I thought this technology is not going to fly because it was giving me a headache. It still gives me a headache, and I'm having like a sickness when playing. But that's how I started 21 years ago, more or less. So it was a great time. I created my own startup doing robotics because I fell in love with robots. But in order to survive, robots doesn't pay too much. So I was working and consulting in IT. I have more than 20 years now of experience working for various companies. IBM has the longest stretch, and I'm so excited that I'm able to learn new things. And what I started my career with Java. It was it's harsh to say. It was 96 when I joined NTT, so Nippon Telegraph and Telephone Labs in Japan, in Tokyo, where I was doing Java research. And then I moved to Swift recently. I started to work with the mobile and cloud native development. So these are containers, serverless. With serverless, we have, with my colleague Leonard, we are doing a very, very crazy thing. We are trying to publish a book end of this quarter. So we are in the process of finalizing the serverless Swift. So it's a angle of serverless with the Swift. It's another great session, and it's great technology. And besides that, I'm always very intrigued of working with my robots and putting AI on top of them. So I learned about Watson, recognition, some voice, and today we are going to use a translation service from Watson. So it's super cool. Despite I'm from Poland and now I live in California, I started to dive, and I'm a rescue scuba diver. And in California, I didn't know that they have mountains over here. I never expected, never in Poland, I was putting chains on my wheels. Over here, despite having a 4-wheel drive, I am carrying chains and going to mountains over here. We have Lake Tahoe, very nice resort. But comparing with Europe, I must tell you, it's 4 times more expensive to have snowboarding experiences than in Europe. So I don't know. I have to take my kids to Europe and spend some time over there and now in the Alps when all this pandemic is over. So I told about a lot about my robotics, and this is how I look like today. So less hair as compared to before, and I miss the time I could meet you guys. I really wanted to kind of stay with people, share the food. We have usually some catering for the events, and we have a lot of people coming over. And even now, we are getting ready for the summit that we are organizing with my team to introduce containers and various technologies like Helm, Istio that we are going to talk about today. So that's me. That's the crowd I miss. So I miss you guys very much. It's hard to say. I don't miss my kids. They are staying with me for the past 7 weeks or 8 now. I don't know. I lost the count. So as you can imagine, they might appear here and ask me for doing some breakfast. So if it happens, I'm sorry. I will stop. I'm joking. So back to the serious things. IBM started a call for code 3 years ago, and it's a pretty amazing event. It's a hackathon. If you want to put your skills into the use for great cause, just join us. It's ibm.b/call for code. I will drop the link in a minute when I have the time for that. But it's a great event. Just join it. We have 2 tracks for Call for Code. One track is pandemic, of course. So how to address pandemic, how to help people doing that. And it's super cool that also we are addressing the climate change. So believe or not, the seasons are harsher now. You have in California, we have fires. There are thunderstorms on the East Coast. Various things are happening, the drought and floods and so on. So let's combat the climate change and COVID together. And this is, as I said, it's the 3rd year IBM is running Call for Code. Before it was disasters, 2 years. And the winners from this event went so winners got $200,000. They got support from the Linux Foundation, and they got some exposure to VCs. So they are deploying the solutions. I met both. I judged the last team that was from New York. They created a variable for folks in fire brigades, so they can sense how they are exposed to the adverse conditions. So we have other thing that is in first year there was an OWL company doing IoT device that was setting up ad hoc network, and they were launching to Puerto Rico. So IBM is helping them out, and it gets 200,000 developers to do it, and almost every nation is involved, and we got about 8,000 apps. More information about that at this link, ibm.b/call for code. Just join us and so on. So now let's go to what we are going to see today. Usually I am presenting. I'm trying to be consumable by various audiences. So I pitched AI to kids from Australia who visited San Francisco office. So there was no social distancing at that time, and kids were already producing some apps. So I'm even sporting one of the tags or stickers from them. And also I was talking to these not so funny guys from angel investors. And I was telling them how you can use blockchain. And I hope that Brian gets one of our best speakers, Leonard, my colleague with whom I'm doing this Serverless Swift book, to present on blockchain next time. So, all right, that was introduction, super long. So we are going to talk about containers. We will go through the Docker. I will do the lab with you guys together. Hopefully you can install the Docker desktop version. It works on Mac and it also works on the Windows, so it's very easy to do if you haven't done it. So you can start now, and then we will do Kubernetes. We'll discuss why Kubernetes is important. Then we will go into Istio, and we'll discuss what the heck is Istio and why we need Kubernetes and Istio, and what are these buzzwords. And then and I will do lab number 2, so you will be able to have a hands-on on, and it's super cool, super easy. You will see it's a technology for us, for developers. We can consume it very easily from terminal and so on. And then we will go to lab number 2, and lab number 2 is done. Then we go to the Red Hat OpenShift. And Red Hat OpenShift, I will give you some introduction, and hopefully I can do some demo for you and do the comparison. So with that, let's start our discussion. So Docker mission. So why Docker? Why Docker is important, and so on. The first most important part is that the Docker is about building the image, shipping the image, and running the container on any platform. And that's one of the most intriguing parts about this technology. I could add one slide. I will go over with the technology a little bit in the second step. I will give you the overview of the technology. And now we can start with the first lab. So let me stop over here, and let me see if there are any questions. First thing, I need to give you guys a link that you need to sign up. I think you can also IBM Cloud sign up. You can use this link. I will also drop it into the chat window. So this is the link that my managers are looking into. If you guys sign up today, or just click if you have already the account. So if I click on this link, I should be getting access to the cloud. Let me try to open a window. And I will come over and show you how it works. So I need to go this way. I need to pick up I lost my mouse. Okay, it's here. So this is let me copy this link over here. Does it work? I just created this, so yeah. So this is the link, and you can start creating your account. If you have an account already in place, so you can go to the login. If you don't, you have to kind of sign up. So that's a bummer, usually. And then you have this. I have a couple of accounts, so I will use this one, maybe serverless Marek. And then you ask me for password, so I have the password under my finger, so fingerprint, and I am logged in. So this is the account. This is what happens when you log in. I think Brian can try to have the poll on that, how to do it. But let me share with you guys another thing. So instructions on how to do the first lab. Okay, so I'm where is my mouse? I guess my mouse disappeared. It's here, so I have to use my hand now. So this is the first lab. We'll use a couple of the materials I'm having. I will jump over them from time to time. So don't worry about that. So this is the second link I'm going to share with you. So it's Red Hat World Tour, and if I click on this link over here, let me see. I cannot use my mouse. So the time being, I will just scroll down. So if we click over here, it should open for me a new window. Okay, we have action to workshop, and you should be able to just go and sign up from the from this window. You will have the same instructions here. So let me just do one more thing. So I will just give you the updated screen over here. So this is the sorry, going back here. This is what we are going to use. So these are instructions, and you will go through the instructions, and then you will start with the Docker lab. So it's lab over here on the left-hand side. You will see it. So let me just increase the size for you. And you can see a little bit of the introduction about the Docker and how it works. So so we'll start with the one of the applications, language translation service. I will show it in a minute, but the Docker. So what is the difference between Docker and virtual machine is that you guys can install virtual machine and then you have to install your operating system. So you have your infrastructure, you have host operating system, and then you install your hypervisor, and on top of the hypervisor you install operating system again, and then you go with the application. So because of adding over here again operating system for virtual machine, you are losing a lot of capacity of the machine. With the Docker, you immediately install the machine, install the application on top of the Docker. So it's leaner, so it's smaller footprint, and you can install more machines. So I mentioned about this build, ship, and run. So these are 3 steps that you would do, and then that's the way we'll proceed. So we will do this exercise: build. We will build the image, then we will make it ready, and we will run it on our machine, on our local machines. So so you have a chance to sign up again and go to the catalog. So let me open the catalog now on our Safari over here. So that I am having a Light account. I just give you a bit of the navigation. We have catalog of 180 services. So if you click over here, it should open for you the catalog window. Okay, and we have some featured functions. So they are providing us with something. And then there you have services, 180 services. I have 81. Some of them are free. That means you have to sign up usually, and you have to upgrade to pay as you go account, pay go account. Or you can use light accounts. Light accounts are free of charge. You don't need to upgrade. You don't need to provide your credit card. And we are going to stick to the light account today. So you don't need to upgrade. You don't need to provide anything. It's free of charge for, we hope, forever. So if you're having startup or dreams of creating your product or just trying it out or learning new thing, just use it. So there are plenty of services you can just browse them. Or you can click on the category, and we are going to click on the category AI. So in the category AI, you have 17 services at the moment, and they are all available for you. Just giving you some heads up, this is a Watson Assistant, so it's a chatbot backend. You have some machine learning studio, some other annotator for clinical data, some compare, discovery, and so on. Knowledge studio, so again, you can work with the domain language, and we have our language translator. Other services that I'm very often using, in addition to visual recognition to the tone translator, is visual recognition. It's a great service for robots, so I love it so much. Just test it. Super cool to test. See this updated. You can teach it a new thing. But we are going to language translator. So you can also write over here language, and it will pick a couple services that are coming with the language. So language understanding, language classifier. We need this language translator. So I'm going to click on that. And now you can the service. I wonder if I have already one service running. Yeah, it says, oh, buddy, you have your service running already in Dallas. So forget it. You can create a new one because you're already not exhausted, but you used the service. But you guys can easily create it, I hope. So I think that's the next step, and you can just put it with the name, for example, webinar over here, and or workshop, and you can use the default group. You can add some tags like Marek, and then you can put, for example, the date 2020 0520. So 6 years from now, 6 years ago, I just came to the United States to live here, and then you hit create, and it gives you information how much that it's going to cost. You will see different pricing when I launch some services. You'll see how they cost and so on. All right, so and we are using free tier. There are also not so free tier. So with the free tier, you have 1 million of characters, free per month for translation. So if I go now, so let's assume I hit create. So then my service goes to this, not to the dashboard, but it goes to the resources. So in order to go to the menu, I would click over here. It will open the information, and I can go to the resource list, and it will open for me all the resources I have created. So one of the resources over here is language translator service I created for women who code San Francisco some time ago. You can just see. So it's 1 month ago and 3 days, and so this is the service I created. So let's go inside. And this is what you're going to see when you create the service. And then, okay, I love it so much. So, okay, thank you so much. Okay, close it. And now we have we can upgrade from plan light to other plans, but we are just needing service credentials. And we know what to do. So service credentials, just create a new service credentials. So I create a code fresh events, and I didn't know, Brian, that code fresh events is changed to cafe. But it's good sign. I have some. I have the tea today. But thank you for reminding. Code fresh events do not change anything. Do not change. Okay. And then we keep a manager, and I will keep add. Okay. Code fresh events is supposed to happen over here. Okay. Awesome. We see that we have the events, and if you click on this arrow, it should give you all the details. So now it's a trick. You have to copy all these details for our service. I will keep this window open for us. So, but you can easily copy it over, and you would need the API key. I mean, from your service, not from mine. I don't know how many more clicks or translations I can do. But I'm going to, this is light service, so I'm not going to exploit it. So I'm going to use API key in our lab, and we are going to use URL. So these two things we are going to use, and you are going to see it in a minute. So that's the first step. And Brian, if you could ask people through chat, but through the poll, if how they are doing with the creating of the service. I think I misspelled the name. It's a language translator, not visual recognition. But that's what we should do. So let me see if there are any questions. Okay, so I think we are doing quite good. We have 2 polls already there. So some people are just watching. I am definitely on signed up. You have seen it. So have you created Watson language translator service? All right, that's so awesome. I didn't. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. I didn't create it. I just working on it. So you guys can vote. Give me an idea if the thing is working for you or not. And if you are just watching, that's also good information, because I'm not going to it. So let me just watch if there are any situations over here. So now it's going to be tricky, because we are going to launch now our terminal window. So All right, I showed you this, guys. So it's a translator service. Let me increase the size. So I don't need to like lean towards my. I'm looking to the right because I have two laptops. I mean, two laptops, two screens. I got the screen over here, and I'm watching on the right where everything is. So we go down over here. So we select, we create, we copy the credentials. So we copy the entire window. As I said, it's the best idea. And congratulations, our language translator service is done. That's very important because you spin the service. Spinning the service is super cool because somebody provided the space, resources, and CPU for you, and they are running service, and you are going to use just API, and it's for free for testing, for development, and then and until you use 1 million characters. So it's super cool for kids. My son is 13 years old, so he's trying to do some video blogging, some hacking around the Minecraft. Maybe he can translate some comments from all over the world into English or Polish. He still speaks a little bit of Polish, and very hard with the kids. They don't want to speak your native language, and so hard on them. So now we will clone the repository. So we will follow this recipe, and let me open my very nice window here. So I try to increase the size of the font, but if you guys find it too small, I will increase it a bit more. So what I need to do now, one of the things that you guys will notice during my process, I will need to sign up to Docker, and I will use it in our application. So first of all, there are two steps: make dir data, cd data. I'm going to omit that. You can do it. I'll just go ahead with the third step, which is Git. So you need to have a Git, or you can download it directly from this link. So it's a repository my friends were establishing. So I have a time now to drink my tea. So we clone the repository, and if you look inside, what you are going to see, you see a Docker nodes. Node.js language service. So there is a ready application for us. So we are going to this Docker, and you can see there are a couple of files over here. We are going to dive into the Docker file. We're going to use Docker file in our case. So we did cd this step, and we are going to build our Docker file. Using Docker file, we are going to build an image. And we will need this Docker username. So just to give you a heads up about this Docker Hub, how to open it without losing this step. So I will open a new tab. So this is Docker Hub. This is how it looks like. You have to sign up and create your account. This is important, and when you use it, you can share with everybody your images. So some people can use them, and if you have an account, you can sign in. So this guy is called Marek, and you can see what kind of the references I have. So you see, I have a couple images over here. Some people were downloading them even. 1,000. This is a lot. This is a lot of dollars. So that's pretty amazing. We are done here. So you can now move to the next step. And in our case, the next step, as I said, is to build the image. So you need to use the Docker name. In my case, it's the Blue Marek S, and I showed you how to do it. So the other way, without downloading entire GitHub repository, you can build from the GitHub directly. You don't need to download it. But I'm doing it old-fashioned way, everything on my machine. So I'm going to copy this thing. So you can hear, guys, my son walking back and forth and screeching with the doors. This is amazing. I told him, please don't interrupt that, earning the money. And just don't worry about that. So as I told you, I miss you guys very much, and I am not missing my kids. They are with me 7 or 8 weeks. I work from home, and super amazing that I survived. And so so I copied this command over here, and I need to just put over here the my name, my nickname. So it's Blue Marek S without E, Blue Marek. So, and I'm building the image. So it runs. It goes through a couple steps. So just let me see the steps. So let me just go over here. So they are 8 steps. So we start from here. We start from basic basic layer. We call it layers in Docker. And this basic layer, the image that we are basing our environment is Node 10. So it's a Node JavaScript application. If you are familiar with Java, they are servers, application servers. Node is similar with JavaScript, so they have application servers, server-side JavaScript. So Node is one of the deployments, and it's version 10. Then you set up the Node container version, and so that's one of the environments. And then you set up the working directory. So you will use the translator app directory, and you will copy everything from our local directory over there. So there's a package JSON. And I will show you what is in package JSON, but it's just set up what kind of libraries you are going to use. And then you would install everything is needed in the package JSON. Then you copy all remaining files, and you will expose port. You will export port 8080, and you can remove some. So in this step, you are just exposing it, and then you are running the command. This command is in fact running Node server.js, so it runs this server. So it's fully built. We see that's the image name, and it's called Blue Marek S / Node -container :latest. So these are the steps we have done, and I promise you to look inside a couple files. So I'm going to again. I think my mouse ran away from me. Mouse run away. Probably it's a weak on battery or something. So we are going to look into the Docker file. So let me just open it. So I will open it. So this is exactly these comments we have seen from Node 10, setting up the environment. So this is the Docker, how Docker sets up the environment. Then we have an application, for example, from GitHub. Somebody's giving you worked with somebody, or you created this app, and you copy the package JSON, and you then run install, and then copy all the remaining stuff, and we're done. All right. So this is so now how it's done. Escape. So I'm in the escape, and Q for quit. So we have done it. And the second file I wanted to show this package. This time I will just go with more. So package JSON. So what we are working over here with, they are just very simple information. There is nothing unexpected, but it's asking you for Express, which is the basic. So what it is, it's Express is this library. So dependencies Express for 17 or higher. Express is the web server. So it kind of builds around web server application website application, and this is IBM Watson. So we are going to use IBM Watson. So we have done this step. So we can now move to the next. So this one is either you use this one and download all the GitHub, or just build it directly from the GitHub. So I just explained you all these steps over here. And now we can run the Docker image. And I promised you that we need to ask you to kind of copy the thing. So So this is long command. You would need a Docker username. You would need API URL. I mentioned it, and API key. So I'm just copying this stuff. And in my case, it looks more or less like this. Don't run away. Yeah, I move my fingers too fast. So. And so we are on the step 5. So this is the step we are going to do. So I'm going to copy this guy, and I'm going to over here. So I can just clear it. And I will place our stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going first to change the key. So I'm just deleting this API key. And what we are going to do with the key, we have our application in Safari, if I remember correctly. So we need to open this guy over here. API key this is the API key. We need to copy. All right, I have to do it I have to get some strategy here going on. So I copied that, and I am pasting it in here. So this is our key. Let's paste it. Now I go to API URL. I remove those very nice quotes, and I will copy them directly from our language translator here. So let me just grab this guy and grab to here, and I can copy this and paste it here. And now the last thing to change is my Docker name. And that's done. So I'm going to use blue Marek. Yes, blue Marek. Yes. And if I hit enter, it should Docker run. So this is the first part. It should run our image on port 8080 using the we are passing to the environment, so it's not in the code, it's just in the invocation of the command. We are passing the keys, so LT language translation key and language translation URL that we are going to use. So I'm hitting OK. Our image is running over here. This is the image, and now we should be able to test it. So this is not what we need. We need to go here. So now we can test the application. I'm using the curl. You can also just call it in your browser window. So you can just copy this and just call it from the browser window. I'm going to copy the programmatic way. So I'm going to use curl command. This command is small guy over here. And I'm going to use it in our application. So if I find my application, it's here. So our guy is running. So I'm going to copy it over. And we are going to test it on the text, how are you? So how I know this, how are you? So we have, that's encoded space over here. So this string, so it's encoded space. And it's going to change translation. The default that we are using is Spanish. You can find the entire description of how the application is working here. So if you go to ls, and I guess it was in server. So let me see server. So this is the insides of the application. So if you look over here, guys, we are starting our translation service, and then we provide the language translations version. So version here, the key, LT key that we provided, the URL, and then we translate some service. So we get the key. So the text is passed and parameters. And if there is, for example, there is no language use, so we will use Spanish. And then it invokes our translation. and using this information. So if something goes wrong, it goes wrong. But if everything works, it works, and then it listens on the port. So it's our microservice that we run. So that exposes you to something that is pretty amazing. We went through entire example, and we were able to kind of see how uh, this thing works. And so my mouse is saying a low battery, therefore it doesn't want to work. And, that's what it's set now. Okay. Going a little bit with the lab more. So the next step is, so we've seen this output, and sometimes you can see some errors. So you can kind of, I try to give you some explanations why it's like this or not. You can also change with the different languages. So you can just add this little ampersand over here and change the language. So let's do it. Let me just copy it over. And where is our app? So I will just add this translate and add this language here. So this is the call, and we will go with German. I don't speak German. I speak a little bit of French. So let me change it to French now. And yeah, I think I put too many signs. So comment vous êtes? That's a proper way of asking in French. So so it works, and you can change from various languages. So you can test various things, and there are a couple of things that are intriguing over here in the code. So if you go back to our instructions, you will see that you can go through a lot of things. Even try my Polish, which what Greta Thunberg is saying. So it's kind of the way you can translate some messages or instructions to various languages and use it for call. So next thing, very important thing to do is to start to clean up after what you have done, because it takes some resources. So either you can, guys, you can just stop. I mean, restart your machine. But I'm sometimes running my machine for a couple of days without restarting, and only when there's some update or I have a crash. Crowdcaster once crashed on me. So I'm then restarting. So first of all, let's see if we have our services. So I'm just trying to show you step by step, so you can come back to the same step and do it by yourself. So our services are running. I'm going to stop it now. First thing, let's find it out. So yes, we have this container running up 6 minutes. So let's see what. So I can stop my container. I need to just provide the name for the container. So I'm going to copy this part, and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to use this this name here. And this is my. I'll try to be here with you guys in a different angle now, because my mouse doesn't work, so it will be more comfortable for me to just use it here. So we stop the container, and how we can test it? Of course, we can try to translate something from English to French. There is no service. So we stop it. So next step, what would be the next step in our case? In our case, next step would be to remove the container. So now we can
we had the container stop. Now we have container remove. So all the commands that we are going to do, they are kind of ready. So I'm just going to change it as well. RM. And it's removed. And the next step we need to do is remove the image. So so we will grab all the images that I have on my machine and just look for the node containers. So we are going to just go through that. And we have the name, the culprit over here. So we are going to remove this image. And I'm just going to copy that over. So that's like a housekeeping procedures. They are important and so on. It helps you out. I have just a couple images here, so so there is not too many things that I have done. But these steps are important. So so whenever you do exercises like this, you want to kind of get ready with entire stuff. So one thing I wanted to share with you, it's a little bit of the, where's my mouse? Here. I wanted to share with you guys a little bit of the introduction into the part that we discussed. So let me start sharing. Let me see first if there are any questions. Okay, maybe Brian, if you could please share the, I think the poll number 3 is about the entire application. If you guys manage to run it, the Node.js service. I'm not sure if you can run this poll. I will check it out during the presentation or just right after that, but you might see the poll coming back over here. So we will have the next poll. Yeah, it's a new poll over here. So at the bottom, now just watching, have you managed to run your Docker service? I managed, you guys have seen it, so it's super cool. And if you will watch it, just awesome experience, and you can learn so much from this very simple exercise. All right, questions. There are some stuff happening. Yeah, presentation is recorded. Can you show it using a browser? Oh, of course. Of course. Now it's a problem because I need to restart it. Yeah, let me try. So first, I need to create a service. So so we have to Docker build an image. We are building the image first. That was quick. Then we have to launch the image, Docker run, and I think that's it. Okay, and now first let's test it if it's runs. So I don't with French is fine. All right, come with that. So you should get the output in exactly in this form. Yeah, so you should get this this JSON back. So let me just try to do it. So I don't copy the quotes. I'm just going right away with all this stuff over here. So hopefully it works. You know, I hope it works for you guys. So let's see. So this is what we expected. Translation. This is formatted over here. I guess this format is just end of lines, and HTML doesn't show end of lines. I don't see the source code. You can guys just go ahead and see the source code. Maybe I can just see page source. So it should. Yeah, so it's, you see, there is no, you should get this break line command in HTML to have the lines broken. but you don't get it. So they are just in one line. I hope that answers the question from Marcelo. So Marcelo, I hope it's okay. In my case, I couldn't remove the Docker. I must use the option -F to force removing. Oh, because you stop it first. Stop first, and then you have to remove it. So you have to use the commands, but hopefully it works and it didn't crash your system. That would be sad. So let me go with the presentation, guys, so we can kind of enjoy the other part that we are going to do together. So I click here, and now I can use my intelligent part. So so this is kind of the development of the containers, and there are a couple stretches. So bare metal, virtual machines, that, as I told you, they consist of an operating system first, and then the new application. Containers are just applications, and there is step even more into the direction you have just functions. So it's serverless. So we are at the containers level. This is the containers level we talk about. Just comparing VM again. So you have your hardware. On top of the hardware, you have hypervisor created by the virtual machine, VirtualBox or whatever you are using. And then you have your machine, and in machine, the first part, very fat one, is the operating system. So whatever system you're using, it still takes a lot of storage. And on top of that, you have comparing with this with container, you look at the same size, but in fact, the layer, you can compress the layer, so you just use the files that are needed. So now your app is so slimmer, so you can have more apps. The size you can have, I think, you get two various apps. So here you can have so many. And funny enough, some people are running Docker inside of the virtual machine. There are a couple ideas why to do it. One of them is separation of the Docker running Docker engine from hardware, because still you can write some stuff into the hardware, and you can kill the machine by overriding a lot of things. So overwriting. So that's one of the ways. We have seen this slide, and now there is some comparison. One of the beauties about the Docker and the containers is that development and operations are in the same kind of picture. So what they do, developers take care of the code, and operations are taking care of logging and remote access. So everybody's happy because everything is like a standard. And let me go through the components and architecture of the application. So first of all, you have this Docker host application, so Docker engine installed. So if you are using Docker desktop, this is where you install that, and then you have your small images that you build and download from repository registry. So Docker Hub is the registry. You can have public in Docker Hub or other places. In IBM Cloud, there is also a registry like that. So then you run. We did Docker run, Docker build, Docker stop, Docker remove. We did all those commands, and these are from client CLI, command line interface. And then you map your ports. We did 8080 to 8080, as you remember, and you expose those ports. So pretty amazing stuff. And we did this exercise with language translation. So we did those steps. Let me just see what's next. So the second part is about, as I told you, is why would somebody care about something else. This image business is so cool. We created an application. We are super happy. We can run it. We can expose the port. Anybody can access it. And we are happy because we started our API economy. So we can now run, your business, let's say translation business, or provide some APIs. So it's API economy. You can build some APIs, and people are starting to use them. And sometimes, like, I was like so shocked, 1,000 people or more than 1,000 people downloaded my image. Some people can, start with one image, then you will profile the versions to just host them in various regions. So one in Europe, one in States, one Asia Pacific, and one in India or Middle East, and you will have like four images. Now you run them, and people start to use them, especially there are disasters, or there is some event and they want to translate ad hoc so many things, and suddenly it becomes popular on the Waymo. So everybody in China are using it, and suddenly it's so hard to manage all those services and run them and version them. So we started to think there need to be something to help us, and especially when you go into the hundreds of those various images. All right, and there is orchestration service, scheduling service model, and there are a couple of companies or a couple of projects that are being provided for us. So Marathon and Mesos, these are the open source projects. And Docker Swarm. Docker Swarm came as a kind of growth from Docker, but a lot of people turned to the Kubernetes, and it became mainstream. 2018, 2019, it became really mainstream, and so we are speaking about Kubernetes as one of the services. The drawback about Kubernetes is that it doesn't manage machines. It's just managing applications. So you have to take care of it yourself. The other thing that is super cool about that, it's open source projects managed by Linux Foundations, donated by Google, but managed by Linux Foundation. So now you can really deploy your containers and build some add-ons, because it's designed for extensibility. We can create new projects using Kubernetes and work with that. But it's really the thing, whatever happens, if there is emergency, health situation, if there is traffic coming, so how to manage the situation with the oncoming traffic, and what to do when there is emergency and like a fire, like these firefighters, so they are coming over and doing it. So this is kind of the element that I wanted to show you, because for you today I created 20 clusters, and they look exactly like this. So we have 20 clusters, and you can all test them. You need to sign up for IBM Cloud and then sign up for the particular cluster. But we have 20 clusters, and each cluster is built of the nodes. So what is the node? Node is the element you booked in the data center. So our element that is in the data center, this worker node 1, consists of 4 virtual CPUs. So 4 CPUs or 4 cores, and we have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and for each, and some storage, some basic storage. So we have 3 of those. And on top of that, we install infrastructure elements, so Kubernetes, and so that's how it looks like. And then when you install the application, you install it in a pod. So the small pod is the architectural element that you would use, and the pod contains your container, your application. So when you deploy the application, you deploy it in the pod. It has an IP table and so on. Can coexist with other pods in the same node, and then in order to expose this little application, you create a service. So the service created over here allows you to access it from internal place. Or also you can use it to access it from inside. So if you create, for example, database, you can kind of access it from outside as well. So that's the step. That's the next step, and we can go to the next slide. What gives you the Kubernetes? And Kubernetes provides you with intelligent scheduling. So you can say, on this date we are going to host an event, and we are going to have so many clusters. Expand, so auto scale. You can have self-healing, so whenever something breaks and the health check doesn't complete, you would get the information back, and it would restart the service. So health check is this emergency service. You can get yourself a smaller one node free of charge node or cluster, one node cluster. So it's maybe it shouldn't be one cluster node, and you can test a lot of things with that and try it out. Or you can go with the very large deployments with a couple dozen of the CPUs and so on. So you can and large installation of a lot of nodes together. And then when you create the service, you have service discovery and load balancing. So this all is given, and ingress is one of the services that is usually available with the thing. And then you have automated rollouts and rollbacks, so you can kind of push it back and forth. And that's also an amazing thing, because you can really enjoy it. And then you go to the secret configuration, so you can pass the secrets on the place and just play with that. You don't need to disclose or store them inside the file system. So one of the things that you can kind of omit, somebody can hack into the container, and if you store your your precious admin/password details, they can hack into the other containers and really can explode the system. So you better change the password and keep it outside of the cluster. So you would just pass it in there and store it as a secret, and it's possible. There is a thing that allows for that. So now imagine you started with your first translation service, then you created a couple other services. They created the installation, that you have nice UI. Maybe you can talk to the you have web application, maybe you have billing and so on. You have entire set. And in order to deploy it to the new customer, you would have to kind of struggle to kind of build it from scratch. For that, we are using Helm chart. So it's kind of the director that says which elements are deployed how, and it's also based on the YAML file. So you can really test them. So now let's talk a little bit about what this other project that is really intriguing over here, and I wanted to also touch base with that. So the project that we are talking about is a response. Istio is response to challenges with microservices. So sometimes it's kind of hard to have this security between various services talking to each other. You would like to have some more flexibility of deploying a Canary application. So Canary deployments, the new application, you just tested for 1% of the users. So you don't give it to everybody, so the system crashes everywhere. You just give it to 1% of the users, and then you will see how they kind of complain, and you improve it, and then they don't complain, so you can roll it out slowly to everybody. You have A/B tests, so you can have one version of the application with this kind of set of colors, and then you have the other version of the application with the other set of colors. And so this is A/B testing, and you can decide, oh, this is the way how I'm going to approach everything. So I would do this A/B testing, and you would say people with the B prefers they are prefer the A version more than people with A. The A is less traffic, so you would do this testing. And then you can have a retries and secret breakers. So they would say if application has a let's say retries, a lot of retries, and it doesn't respond, you would have secret break, and you would say, okay, I failed. And then rate limiting. So if somebody is trying to, charge you a lot for the translations of the hello world, and they would just hit you 1 million times per minute, they would really exploit you, and you won't be able to pay for that. So you can limit it to 100 from given IP. So that's a rate. And also for testing, you can inject the fault. So the problem that is happening. So it's a pretty amazing thing also to use. And finally, you have policy management. So you can give everybody the same access to all the resources, the same, and manage that and see how it works. And also telemetry is also giving you the idea on how to work. And these are the problems that we didn't have in vanilla Kubernetes, so default Kubernetes, and therefore we started to use Istio. And Istio was started by Google, IBM, and Lyft. These three companies started it, but now it's a larger community, and there are various contributors to this. So Istio is one of the projects, open source project that you can join, and it's pretty mature now, 1.6 at the moment. And so discussion starts with the service mesh. So you can observe various services and resiliency if they are responsive enough, and you can control the traffic and security, and I said policy enforcement. And on the website of Istio would see this connectivity between various services. So intelligent control of the flow between all the applications, the API calls. You can test some applications and how it works. Then you have the security. So we have really the channels between the services are encrypted, and so we have that's one of the things that you want to have. And then also you have the control. So the resources are fairly distributed among the consumers participants. And for finally, you have also observability. So you expose everything, and you have a very nice Grafana dashboard and so on. So that's a nicer picture, maybe on how to kind of approach that. So you have a little routing. So it's a smart routing. You have a lot of various ways to kind of direct the routing, and I will give you some examples in a minute. You have resiliency across languages and platforms, so you can test everything if it works. You can inject some problems and then test them. And finally, you have policy enforcement and telemetry. I was talking about that, so everybody gets the same kind of access. So control. So the smart routing is, as I said before, there was a need for canary tests or A/B tests and releases gradually for various applications. So that can be done. The other part is the resiliency. So despite of various ways, various implementations, you can just test how it responds, and you can test it in various artificial situation, like we have some problem in the network, so you can inject, for example, delays and stuff like that. So other thing is just the policy enforcement and enforcing that everybody is using the same kind of applications. And finally, the same resources. And finally, we have this in-depth telemetry, so you can track how it was. So let me go to the architecture picture. So that's the architecture overall, and maybe you remember from the previous slide, I was mentioning the pods. So on the node, you have a pod with your application, but also you inject a small kind of add-on. It's a proxy that takes care of passing the traffic transparently to your application. So application don't know that there is something is happening. It's just this add-on that is giving you the passover. And this add-on, this proxy, was called Envoy, or is called Envoy. It comes from Lyft. It was tested on many applications, and is being managed by various things. So there is a pilot. This is the manager of the application. The manager is driving the proxy the way it works. So it sends the configuration and how it works. Then Citadel, it's imagine it like a certificate authority. It sends the keys to encrypt the channel, the communication channel between various nodes and or various pods. And then you have a GLA that sends the configuration data to the mixer that collects all the telemetry and shows you how application is running, because you get this information from every pod, and you can kind of see how it works. Our example later on that we are going to do is based on the book info application. So this info application it's pretty amazing application. It just shows the product page, and this is how it looks without Istio. So you have a product page. So it's Python-based application. It has reviews version 1, reviews version 2, and reviews version 3. And this reviews version 2 and 3 are based on the ratings that are written in Node. So you see the various some details over here on written in Ruby. So you have various applications, various polyglot kind of the containers, and they are talking to each other. In the regular situation, you would just deploy them, and that's it. With Istio, you would inject this smart routing in the beginning, so you get the request they are stored here. Then you would inject the envoy here, and then you would deploy all these envoys everywhere. So the traffic would be managed. Managed by these envoys that are in every pod that we have the application there. So I think so it's easier and easier to kind of manage that, and we have a small example for that. So let me stop the presentation here. Is a pod one-to-one relation with container, or you can have more containers in a pod? Definitely, you can put more containers in a pod, but because of the simplicity, people are just you can have a lot of pods in the node. So Marcelo is having very good observation. But people are usually having just one container in the pod because that's how they usually were working. But you can kind of schedule it to have like two elements working together if it's needed. So yeah, that's also possible. Let me now do the exercise. Sorry. So I have a small booklet for you. You can guys join me in doing the exercises together. So I will just place here the link. And that's a new new application that we are going on, new instructions that we are going to do. So these are the instructions. But before we start, I have, as I said, I have a couple clusters for you. So let me just check where they are. Just a moment. I need to just bring something for you guys. So just give me a sec. And I think it's in the here, so I'm just coming to you. Clusters. And I think, in San Jose. I'm going to show you what I am doing now. So, San Jose. Okay. All right, so we have got for you about 20 clusters created, and these clusters are available for us to test. So they are all, as you see, called fresh events for development. So we are going to share them with you. And you guys can test them out, and I will give you a little bit of overview on how to do it. So first of all, let me share the link on how to launch into it, and I will give you instructions. Just a moment, I need to find the link for you. I had it ready, but usually it's so many links that I maybe so. Just a second, I will just bring it for you. So it's this one. So guys, you can try to run this this link. Let me just copy it over. In our chat. So these are our servers, and I need to go here. So you guys can use. Let me just copy it over here. So we provided you with about 20 servers. Each server, as I said, they have 3 nodes, and they are based on the four cores. And each node has 16 GB of RAM. So we have 20 of those, and I know that not everybody wants to do hands-on. I will try to show you step by step, so you can just really watch it. And maybe we have these clusters for you available for 24 hours, so you can test them over today and then maybe early tomorrow as well. So what you have to do, I'm going to maybe copy this or click this. I don't know what's going to happen if I click this. So I will just make sure that I will come over here, and as you remember, I'm here as serverless Marek, and I'm going to attach to the you see I don't have any more organizations. If I click on my name, I don't see anything. After assigning the cluster, I will have more organizations, and one of them will be with assign cluster. So maybe just do it over here. Okay, and the key that we are using was here. So IKS lab. So this is the key I'm going to use. So this is the key, and I'm going to put my name, serverless Marek at roboticsinventions.com. So this is my my username. I hope. So we hope that together. So that's my account, and now we are going to see over here, profile and settings. So this is my name over here, and okay, so it should work. So I agree to the terms. And now the system is going to provide me with the access. So I got assigned to the cluster 12, IPS code fresh events development 12. So I can just jump there, or I can just refresh my account. So as I said, it would be seen over here in the profile. So if I go to a dash to the resource list, I won't see any clusters, 0 clusters. But you see now I have this arrow over here, and I have a new cluster. So I'm assigned with the cluster. With this cluster, you can go inside and just test it. You see it's a brand new cluster, started for you, I think, yesterday at 4:50 p.m., I guess, Pacific. This is when my colleagues started it. And you have all the information over here and so on. One of the things that you want to see in your cluster is, so I got the cluster from here. It's assigned for you if you come to this site. So you guys can try it out. And that's the way to do it. And one of the things that you want to do is to check all the elements of this cluster. Okay, we have three nodes, as you see, in San Jose. I deployed them for us in San Jose. We have worker pool of applications. So this is very like a rudimentary UI that you can kind of watch it. All right, and one of the things that you can also do is you can launch this very nice Cloud Shell. And this Cloud Shell allows you to not install anything anymore. You can just use it for your Kubernetes deployment. So I'm going to just click over here. An important part about launching this Cloud Shell is that you have to be in a given even this IBM site. So if you use it, then it will set up your environment. And it's a terminal. You don't need to install anything. Otherwise, you have to install entire information. I'm already logged in, so so you are already in the environment. So when we are in the environment, what you can do, you can go to the access, and you can install everything if you are using your CLI on your terminal, or you can just log in. We are already logged in, and we can access our cluster. So let me just copy this to my page over here. Okay, and so you see, I already connected. So now if I run this command, so kube control get nodes, it should give me all the nodes that are there. So that's the first step. So we are connected to our cloud, and that's the first step of our workshop. The other part of our workshop, and if you use this traffic management, I want to show you how to work with the the pods. So if I open it here, we need to use this this small repository. So I will just copy it over, and I will use our virtual environment this time. I will install it over there. So I will go now to CD Istio demo. And we have a couple examples over here, what to do and stuff like that. So that's the first part. So I went there. And we can use now our application. You have more steps over here, an explanation what is happening, booking for app, and again the description of the entire application. Let me just increase the size of this screen because I want you to see it correctly. So a request comes, envoy is scheduled, and you can kind of see what is happening, and then product page is pulling the reviews. So version 1, usually it pulls version 1, but you can schedule it to go to version 2 and version 3 in a round robin, just to give it ABC test, which one is the best preferred, and then you can give it some information here. And then version 2 and version 3 is using some additional page. But first, we kind of want to deploy Istio. So there are steps on that, and you can deploy Istio manually. So you would just go through the process, or you can use the capability of given to us by IBM, and it's called managed Istio. So it's Istio that is already for you, and it's managed. And I didn't want to go here. I wanted to just come to this our cluster. So how to get there? If you are in dashboard, let's say when you sign up to IBM Cloud, I gave you the link in the chat. You have to change from your own account. In this case, it's Marek serverless. I'm changing to this additional one that was created for you from the chat window. Let me just show you the chat window over here. So I just use this this link over here. Oh, there's a poll. Have you got your cluster? Yeah, I got. Okay, I got one. Thank you, Brian, for being watchful over here. So so I got the cluster. I got the cluster, and I can just press on it. And as I said, you can now deploy your. You can add additional things, and it's in add-ons. I'm sorry. So you have to go to add-ons, and you have managed Istio. It's not beta anymore. It's not experimental. It's managed Istio is just per service. So you just go in and click here, and it's going to install. You must have 3 or more worker nodes in order to run it. And each needs to have these capabilities in order to be efficient. So let's install it. So if you go for the overview now, you will suddenly see that the CPU is. Not sure if they have this view over here, but sometimes you can see that the CPU is being called. So maybe you can go to the dashboard and kind of watch it for yourself. Let me see if that helps. So about 11, my kids stopped stop schoolwork 11:30, and all my streaming needs to finish by 11:30 at the latest. So really we are having some challenges with that. So these are the various things that are deployed. You can see that what we have inside of the clusters, and you can see various pods being deployed. So eventually you will see the entire deployment. So you see the cluster roles, you have Istio system, and so on. Everything just started just about now. So everything is deploying, and you can see the nodes. And this is the process when you access the system and all the CPU usage and so on. So listing volumes and so on. So this is like a very basic rudimentary place that you can kind of watch it. Basically, public Istio system. Overview of the Istio system. So deployment spots, everything is working, and so on. So this is the CPU usage. So it was suddenly we were deploying, and now it's back to normal. All right. So I gave you a little bit of the overview of the deployment of the Istio. So now let's get back to our coding. So this is where web shell. As you remember or not, I click over here on this small icon, and I need to be in my environment in order to take advantage of that. And now I'm going to go through the labs. So the labs, I gave you this thing over here. So let's kind of go through it. So first of all, we would like to deploy our application, and we would like to deploy this file. And let me go through what we have there. So I will just copy that now over here. So and I will go through what is happening. So we see a couple of things happen. It created the entire application. And why it happened like this. So let's do cd o1 setup, and let's view this o1. They have Vim, maybe 01. Yeah, they have VI over here as well. So we have the description of the application. So we have API version 1. It's going to listen on the port 9080, and just trying to use mouse up and down, but it doesn't. And you have the service account, description of the account. You have everything. So all the details about the service is inside of the YAML file, and we deploy it by using just this. And the pod is defined in the public registry. So this is the public registry that you would use. So examples, booking details info. So somebody created this Istio account, and if you go to the Docker, you would find it out. So remember, we went to the Docker, and should I remember where it was? Maybe here. So Docker Hub, and if you look for the Istio, Istio /examples, you can find all the examples over here. So you have the example 60 days ago it was updated. So that one is not important anymore. So these are the examples. So we drew the image from, and we said we want image 115, not other. Then you go, you say what port, and then so this is the pod definition. Book info details. And then you go for the definition for the ratings as well. And you also refer to this application from Istio Docker image, the Istio registry. And then you go to, you start to create the services. So now you say this service is going to go for this to this spot and so on. So these are like a way to connect all the applications. You can set up the versions and so on. So let me just escape from here. So when you start the gateway, you just create the outgoing service, and you can, if you watch backtrace what I have done over here in the lab. Let me just open the lab once more. So when you create the Istio service, I will try to wrap it up because it's almost end of the lab, but it's very simple thing. So you just need to export the ports. So I'm just getting the ports. You can do it step by step and find out what is the IP of the elements, but this is the super simple way. So I just exported this ingress host, ingress port. I then exported gateway URL. And then I can curl to my application and see where is the application. So it's super simple. And so I can go here, I can curl it. So I will get the information 200 that says, okay, the application is kicking. So what I did, I just echoed the page. So it would give me the address. So I was able to go to the address and check my application. And that was, so I created the new page. I just copied this number and I got this application. So that's the application, and it's using round robin. So I would go through various reviews. So you see black stars, red stars, and no stars. So if you watch the description of the service over here, you see that the round robin is giving me version 1, version 2, and version 3, and that reflects the presentation. There are other things that you can try. So if you have the time and you find it intriguing, so you can easily go to this kind of the script and follow the instructions. And from this step, you can apply a virtual service. Everybody go to the version 1 and then see what it takes to get there. So you can even if we try to find it out, just to give a little bit of the information. So if we go over here and we VI the version 1, but I need to go to the 01 first. So you can have the various rules, and maybe it's not the setup; it's the second routing, and 01. So it's version 1. And so everybody gets the reviews, and version 1 is set up over here. So so just the version 1, and you are just going to use version 1 only. So that's one of the ways to do. Let me just get rid of this, and then you can set up JSON. So for one user, so let me just show you for one user. one you would set up for the person, you would just have a root, and this guy, if you log in as JSON, you would get version 2. Everybody else would get version 1. So just to show you how to log in, you would say JSON and sign in, and you would you as a JSON you would see version 2, but you have to set it up. I ran out of the time, and with this accident we had, so I would just recuperate. Let me just go over here, maybe. So so this is the page we were looking into. We have version 1, version 2, and version 3. And version 2 and version 3 looks for the number of stars. And with JSON, as I said, you can have the, for example, you can inject a fault or give the person some additional versions to test, so canary tests and so on. And VSC testing is a great thing that it's coming with Istio. I think I was running through some slides, other slides, but when you are done with the application, you would like to have as little people as possible around that, maybe. So some people came up in Red Hat. They came up with the idea to curate the applications you would use together, and they created Origin Community Distribution of Kubernetes, OKD. And OKD gets some parts together, and they sell it as the product. I mean, Red Hat that we acquired just a year ago. And there are a couple that build this open source project. Red Hat OpenShift is just a project based on the OKD. So it's think about this like a CentOS becomes a Red Hat Linux, Enterprise Linux. The same happens with the OKD that comes and becomes the Red Hat OpenShift. And the comparison that I was running through, and unfortunately we didn't have the chance to see it, I will repeat myself. So OpenShift and Kubernetes is one is part of the another one. So you have the, if you go through the deployment, management, and security, and then extension. In a deployment in Kubernetes, you have to create your code. You have to deploy it in an image, store the image in a registry, and then think about your OKD story, CI/CD story. In deployment with OpenShift, you have a project, and project defines all the stream. You have all the elements already done. So it's very simplified, much more simpler than what we had with entire story with what I showed you with the Istio, for example. You have to like put all the things together. Maybe it's not too much work, but still it is. In the management part, in Kubernetes, you have very rudimentary UI. So a small UI you use for the logs, you would use Elk, Elasticsearch Log, and Kibana. And then you would Istio for further management. In OpenShift, everything is done for you already. So you have very nice UI. You have EFK. It's like Elk, but with the different component there. But everything is super cool, super nice, and shows you everything there. In security aspects, in Kubernetes, is very, very simple. But you have to do everything yourself. So it's role-based access management, access control. You have AIM services, so adding a new service in order to manage your access, authorization, authentication. Other things you have to set up yourself, look for the best practices. So you have to get another engineer or a couple engineers that are going to take care of the security. In OpenShift, everything is taken care of. There are best practices already implemented, and everything is taken care of for you. So you just go follow the best practices. So you have this extension now, and in Kubernetes you have to really do it yourself, add another node, and there is no easy way to kind of migrate everything. In OpenShift you just use Ansible, so you extend everything. So it's a pretty amazing thing, pretty easy to use. I will try to show you one step or two. You can also use the link I gave you in the very beginning. So let me see. I think it's over here. So one of the links I gave you, I will just bring it up again. Is linked to this labs, and this is just very simple lab. I will just copy this link again in the chat window. So we have chat windows now, and it's here, session 2. Brian made sure that that I know that you can have another session. So I'm so grateful for him that he can host me a little bit above the 2 hours. I'm sorry for the break and that you guys stayed with me. So this is the second part of the lab, and you can use it. For example, there are some labs that you can use, but I will just give you the example of how it is. I also wrote a small article on that, so it's super simple. So you have to go to the OpenShift dashboard. So I don't have it for you today. I'm running a small event tomorrow that you can kind of join, and maybe you can test it with me if you are looking forward to it. I will drop the link for that. It's also on the Crowdcast about the same time. But let me try to open the cluster. I had it somewhere. So these are the clusters. There are some of them. You see, there is a lot of things are happening. What do we need? We need the Dallas. Okay, this guy. And it's on May 19th. We need the cluster that I am going to use. Let me just go to clusters. And I think I will just use OpenShift here, clusters. So you have clusters, both Kubernetes, and so OpenShift is if you look for the I also IBM Cloud 10. I don't know what the heck is this one. I don't want to step somebody's on the foot. There are plenty of clusters already there. And I need one from Dallas. Let me find it. So I'm just looking for the cluster that was made for me for tomorrow. This is Ashgar Labs. That's not me. I think I don't see one. Oh well. Let me see over here. Maybe I can hijack somebody else's cluster. Just a second. So I'm now trying to find the cluster that is ready. When you create a new cluster, maybe I can show you the process of creating a new cluster. So you would go to the product page, and then you would go to the services, and you would say, okay, I need container, and you can choose Kubernetes Service or Red Hat OpenShift. And one of the things that you need to know is OpenShift cluster. So we can have a stable version or latest version 4.3. And I, as an IBMer, I can use the I have entitlement and I can reuse it over here, and it's for development and test. And I can say I will use it in a default group. North America, I will use not multi-zone, it's in 3 zones, so it's a super safe deployment. I will use the single zone only. And if I go for San Jose or maybe Dallas, let's go for Dallas 13, lucky 13. I can pick up the place, so it gave me the location. So okay, and I'm going to use 4 CPUs, 16 GB of RAM, and 3 worker nodes. So this is more or less what is happening. So you see On the chart, you would see the price for the license fee. This license fee is revoked. I don't need to pay it, but that's the monthly charge you would get every month, even if you use it just for a couple of hours. So that's important to know. And then when you are ready with such a resource, you would say, oh, that's Blue Marek S resource. And this is for code fresh events. And I would just create the service. It takes some hours to spin the service. And just the hardware, bare metal for clusters cost $600 per month. So you need to kind of, that's the estimation, to take it into account. So it takes some time to spin it. But I really wanted to show you existing cluster. So before it gets ready, I will try to find OpenShift clusters if I have some. Something happened. Let me see what is happening. Somebody is using a free cluster. So that's an old version. I want to use a new version, 4.3. So Tokyo. So I will maybe hijack Nigel's. So Nigel's. And if I open the web console, so that's expired beta. So it's let's see if it's going to start for us. So this is just to give you the taste of the application. Let me see if it's working. Yeah, it works. So we'll see a small application. We'll see the dashboard, and so this is the dashboard, and if you want to create the project, so you can easily switch to the developer, and you can add the container image. This is the simplest way that you can deploy the image. So so the flow is described here. I gave you the link. So you would just deploy the image, and then you would give it the name. So I'm going to use this this image. So instead of kind of defining it in the YAML file, you can just do it in the UI. So yeah, Henry is asking, is there a free IBM cluster for education purposes? There is a free cluster, but it's a Kubernetes one node cluster. You can use it, and I can show you how to spin it also. Just don't want to mix up things. So let me go through with this example, or maybe I can. So I have this. I will go with this image first, so everybody will see the flow. And I will show you the, so I will give it a registry. So this is the registry from outside. So you can, my colleague Niklas in Germany created this image. And this is the image we are going to use. And authors up and Marek test. And we will use deployment configuration, and I will just create. So this is how it is simple. You just create an image and it deploys, and in a minute it's going. So the UI is very nice, and you can kind of watch it. And application is not available, but it's going to be in a moment. But let it brew for us. So you can see so the deployment and elements of this application. It's still starting, so it takes some time. So it's progressing. So we will see it in a moment, I hope. But how to answer to Henry? There is a way to test free account, free application, and let me just go there. So you would go to catalog, and you would click on services. You'd go to the containers, and you would see this Kubernetes service. So, so what you can do with this Kubernetes service, if you hit this, you can get one standard. You can go for the free, but I already created one. So if you go to my account as Marek, so here as a light account service, maybe I can do it as well over here to show you. So you can create a cluster, and again I would say select the free. In order to do a free service, you have to provide the credit card just for the checkup purposes, but it's going to be free for you. And there is a 30-day cluster. Why it doesn't allow you to create it just like that with just your email? We got a lot of miners, Bitcoin miners, that would spin the clusters and they would reuse the cloud for mining. So everybody on planet would do it free of charge, so we didn't want to have it. All right, guys, so that's an overview. Let me see if my application is running. I don't want to extend it beyond that. Let me, it was, I think, over here. So, okay, the service is running, and let me find, so service is ready. Before it wasn't running, so so our pod is all there. So you can kind of see topology on the service is fully capable service now. So you can kind of see the deployment. There's all the elements, ports are provided for you. So it was very simple. Have you seen? I just provided the name of the image, and everything was taken from this deployment. So in lab 2, these are the steps I did, and now with this link, I need to just provide Open API UI. So I will just add Open at the end, Open API UI. And it would open for me the test application, so I can test it with the get. I can try it out, and I will execute for the user. And they had all the details of the application is provided for you in this lab, so you can so you would have the response from the system. So that's kind of the demo I wanted to show you. It's super simple. As I said, tomorrow I'm running similar event just on the OpenShift. So you can kind of join us, and it starts at the same time. Just look for the Cloudcast, and that's the event we are running. So with that, let me see if there are any questions, and we will be wrapping up. I don't see any questions, so unless Brian can tell me there are more questions. So let me just go back to my presentation. And
there was only one from Henry. He said, well, two from Henry now. Is there no free IBM cluster for education purposes? And he wants the link for tomorrow.
Yeah. So let me just give you this link. You can guys kind of see the group of developer advocates, and I will just flash this link over here. You can also join me on Slack if you want. I have a Slack for asking the questions. So let me just show it over here. So this is the meetups that we are running, and we are around the IBM technology over here. So we are running an event on 2nd of June on just containers. It will be people who are building Istio, for example, so you can kind of join it. You have some links on me, so you can kind of see this recording, and I promise you with the link for tomorrow. So let me just open my meetup page over here. And I guess containers. This is the event that I will be running tomorrow. So so you guys can just join me if it's not enough.
Thanks for watching.